Hey everyone, welcome back. Quest here from the open road. I want to try a little something different today. I got some soothing video to put behind this, but I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of story time. I want to tell you a story about a load that I ran just today. This, you can't make this stuff up. It's just disgusting. So it kind of starts out, looking on the boards, trying to find something decent. We're looking, and we have a lot of trouble finding a load going in the direction we want to go. Finally, kind of break down and come up with something that we can grab going the right way, but it's not quite where we want to go. It doesn't pay as well as we really want, but it's gonna kind of get us moving. I ran over, after taking the load, ran right to the shipper. I got there 2 hours before the appointment they had set up for me. Everything's looking really good. It's a 2-stop load, no tarp, light load, 12,000 pounds, happy as can be. Go in to check in, and they're not going to load me before my 3 o'clock appointment. But that's all right. I mean, it's 2 hours. I can deal with waiting. While I'm sitting there waiting, I end up talking to the gentleman who does their shipping for them, and I find out from him the material for my load hasn't been made yet. So they're not sure when they're going to have the material ready or when they're going to be able to load it. So this is kind of a problem. And, I'm already running low on hours, and I'm not really going to make it there if they delay me too much longer. So I call the broker. I let him know. We talk about it for a little bit, and he calls me back a little bit later. He says, "Yeah, the material, it'll be ready pretty soon. They're moving along. They told me the holdup is they added a 3rd stop to your run." Yeah, don't add a 3rd stop to the run. Don't ever do that to a driver. It drives us nuts. It's more work that you want us to do for free. So, we discussed it a little more, and they ended up paying a lot more to get me to do this run with this extra third delivery on it. That's just the beginning, though. It took them 5 hours from when I arrived to get me loaded and get me moving. It forced me to break 2 of my cardinal rules to myself about trucking. I don't work after 6 p.m. Well, I had to run till 1 in the morning to make this thing happen. I don't do split sleepers because I just don't like dealing with them. But to make it to the 2nd and 3rd stop before they closed, I had to. So I bit the bullet. And I broke my rules, and I ran this run. I ran till 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning, I parked right at the first customer so that I could deliver there at 7:30 when they opened. I woke up at 7:30. I let another truck driver go ahead of me just because I knew I had to waste a little more time there because I couldn't leave there until after 9 o'clock. It was like 9:30 I could actually leave there. And so he unloads. I unloaded. I still had to wait about 20 more minutes before I could leave. At this point, the broker's already calling and pestering me, asking if I've gotten to the 2nd or 3rd stop yet. And I don't understand where his logic is coming from. But once my 8 hours was over and I had a few hours available to drive, I went ahead and I took off. And I went to that 2nd stop. And I pulled up to the 2nd stop, and there was another truck there waiting to unload who hadn't untarped his load yet, and it was going to be a little while. I said hi to him as I went by. I went into the office. I checked in. They brought me out to the guy I was supposed to check in with because they weren't in the office. I checked in with him, and he essentially said to me, "Yeah, just wait in your truck. As soon as we get that guy in front of you empty, you just pull right in. We'll get you going." I said, "Great, wonderful. I'll go ahead and I'll be ready for you when you're ready for me." I went back to my truck. I dropped my paperwork off. I came back out, and the other gentleman that was there working on untarping, I figured, okay, let me go help him a little bit. Maybe that'll hurry things along a little. So I start helping him out. And while I'm helping him, one of the guys who works in their warehouse comes out and starts yelling at me that I have to move my truck. I'm blocking their driveway. But there's only room for 2 trucks to park in the entrance of their driveway, and we're both there to deliver, and they wanted us to wait there until the guy was ready to unload. This makes no sense. So now they're trying to tell me to back into the road. No, that is not logical or safe. We're not going to do that. And he starts hollering and screaming at me that I can't stay there. So I did the appropriate thing. I gave him his options. I said, all right, you can either let me sit here and wait for you to do it the way you wanted to, or you can have me drive around him. I'm ready to unload. We can do this in 5 minutes. And we can get it done and I'll get out of your way. Or you can sign my bills, reject it, I'll leave and go on to the next stop, and the broker can figure out what the hell they're going to do with this material because you won't have it. And he kind of threw a fit and yelled at me and took off and left. I went back to helping the other driver, and another warehouse employee comes out with the same hollering and screaming that I'm in the way. And I essentially gave him the same, I'm not moving my truck for you, it's not safe. And he actually told me to go away and die. Don't tell your delivery driver that. That's just going to make it so you will never get the product that you ordered. Because at this point, I'm just going to say I don't feel safe here and I'm going to leave. And that's what I did. I called the broker and I said, they've rejected your load. I'm on my way to the 3rd stop to deliver it. Figure out what you're going to do with this. And I hung up with him. Then I ended up on a 3-way call between him and the guy that I have that helps me find loads. And we all discussed it, and he says, I talked to the manager there, he's apologizing, he really wants you to come back. I said, you guys made the biggest mistake in the world. You told a driver to go die. I hope to God no driver ever comes to your facility again. So I left there, and I got multiple calls from the broker after that, but I went to the 3rd stop, and I delivered it. And I had no problems at the 3rd stop. I walked in and I apologized to them because they had to move some of the material that was meant to have been delivered already to get to their stuff. I said, I'm sorry, my stop 2 was not ready to unload when I got there, and I wasn't going to sit there and wait on them. So I decided to come here so that you'd get your stuff in a reasonable time. Mind you, these 2 customers are only maybe 7 or 8 miles apart, so they're very close. And ironically, when I mentioned they weren't ready, they immediately said, hey, is it this person? And they called out that person's company directly, their exact location. And they knew exactly what I was talking about. And they didn't blame me for leaving. There was another driver there, a driver delivering drywall, who drives a day cab truck out of the same facility every day, and he goes to generally the same customers. And he said to me that he refuses to go there because of their attitude. Well, all said and done, I delivered that final stop, and at this point the broker had called me back, and I gave him one more chance to get me to go back. And here's how I explained it to him. I said, look, at this point they've already rejected the load. If you want me to take it to another location or back to their location, that's now a stop 4. That's an additional charge. I'm going to need more money. He didn't like that at all. And so I hung up with him and I kind of left him to it, and I drove over to the truck stop that was between the 2 locations there, and I just parked my truck and had some lunch and relaxed a little because, at some point today I now have to take a 2-hour break to finish my split. So while I was sitting there, I got a call back from the guy who helps me find loads, and he tried to work this out with me, and I said, look, I understand they don't want to pay more money, so here's the next offer I'm willing to give them. I said, if they have a manager out there for the entire time that I'm unloading to ensure that their employees don't say anything else that's stupid, and give me a written apology that I can post and give on social media, showing that they screwed up, and they screwed up badly with this delivery driver, I'll come back and I won't charge them another dime. I'll do that extra work. Well, I didn't expect them to want to, accept that either, because that's kind of asking a lot. It's asking them to admit that they're terrible people. But, I sat there, and about 5 minutes before my 2-hour break was up, I got a call from the high-end guys from the company I work for trying to get this all worked out. They spoke to the high-end managers at this customer's location. We kind of made an agreement that I would go back, I wouldn't charge them. They would have the manager and only the manager out there to unload me. And they would get it done in a very fast pace. And there would be no more questions or concerns. And I said that was fine. I'm just going to get this crap off my truck. I said I'm not going to deal with them anymore. And I'm going to blacklist this broker. I'm never going to work for them again. Now, you can't make this stuff up. I went back there. They did as they said. They never said a word to me. They unloaded their load. I photographed the load before I was there. I photographed it when I got there. They immediately turned around and tried to say that I damaged the load and that I had to pay for the load. I pulled up the photos that I had. I sent them immediately over to them. This all happened the same day. I sent all the photos over to the broker and everything else, and the broker came back and he says, "This is how it arrived there?" I said, "Yes. If you notice, all my photos are time, date, and location stamped right on the photos. There's no question that I took that photo at the time I returned there at their location." And he looked at it and he agreed with me and he said, "Well, then we're going to deny their claim completely." Now I'm sure that there's going to be more battling over this claim. But this story time is all to help you other drivers out there a little bit of advice, especially if you drive a flatbed. We get claims all the time that are completely bogus. I keep an app on my phone, and I make it a regular procedure to photograph my load using this app. When I pick it up prior to tarping, when I pick it up after tarping, when I arrive at the shipper prior to untarping, and then after I've untarped the load, I photograph both sides of my trailer to show as much of the load as possible. Time, date, and location stamp. There are multiple apps you can get to do this. Lots of them are free. I'm not going to advertise for any one of them, but no matter which one you use, no matter which one you like, make it a habit, guys. Because these guys who want to cause drama and want you to do it their way and demand the craziest stuff of us all the time, they're the ones that are going to try to make a false claim and try to make a buck off of you. And it's going to come out of your pocket, especially if, like me, you're an owner-operator. You're the one paying all those bills if something gets screwed up. So do yourself a favor. Go get that app, or any of them. Download it. And for all of you who are willing to stay all the way to the end of this, I'm going to throw one little cherry out there for you, because I know everybody wants to know. I'm going to add, at the end of this video, a screenshot from Google Maps showing this wretched location of a customer. And that way you can all see exactly who it was who decided to act like a complete ass when it came to a truck just trying to deliver a load that would take 5 to 8 minutes to unload. And I'll even throw in for you a photograph of the load that I delivered to them, so that you can see what a simple load it truly was. Hey everybody, cover your ass. You know you need to. You know you should. Just take the time and do it. Every load. Stay safe out there.